Enoy Extreme Media UJ. Subscribe for all updates.
The leadership of Law Society, the lawyers in the house, the media, the chairman of the Rugby club, pilots. Good morning. Good morning. I come from an institution where we carry orders and love attention. So when I don't hear response, I feel offended. I am called Afande Muhwezi. I am here on behalf of Inspector General of Police, who I invited late, but because of the importance of the topic, we accepted to come. I want to begin with thanking the leadership of this group, the Radical New Bar. You've been consistent. When you started, we thought it was going to end in tears or shortly. But your consistency and your seriousness on issues that affect the nation is unmatched. I have followed you throughout. You discuss issues across the board: politics, economics, rule of law, and I can tell you there is a huge impact you're putting on the nation. They may not come out to boldly tell you that these policies have come out of your reaction, but I'm sure there are policies that come out to respond to your queries to the state. Two, I want to thank the media. A nation without media is a nation in darkness. You support the justice system, you support police in a way you cannot understand. So I want to thank you. To those who are professional, of course there is another group that undermines the system. I do not want to read the entire statement that I came with, because if I attempt to do so, I will repeat what my colleagues talked about. I have been involved in this for some days. I have talked about seeding, so I don't want to repeat what these people have submitted. But what I will do, I will go through about 5 areas quickly for us to understand the concept. One is that what people call mob justice is not justice, because it defeats the principles of justice. So we should drop the word justice and we put there action or mob violence, because I don't think Sidin got justice. Groups of people acting out of hearsay, sometimes jealousy, fear of threat, acting in a dishonorable manner, neglecting all forms of justice, take the matter into their hands, kill, assault, embarrass, and destroy property in a way they think is quicker and the best way to get justice. That's how we understand mob action. You have uncoordinated people, people that you have not invited, those passing by, claiming to have witnessed. They act as witnesses, they complain, they sit in a jungle court, they sentence the victim and execute the punishment. Total madness in a very short period. And to me, that is not justice. The reason we have to drop the word action, justice, and we put there mob action. Now, while the overall crime has dropped, as you might have seen in the annual crime report, by 10.2%, violent death has increased. And you've heard the examples. Chibirango, I don't know whether you were conscious enough to have seen the case of a UN driver called Aziz, who was involved in a simple accident and he was killed by boda mob. There was a gentleman called Akankwacha Jacob, a worker of Chambogo University, killed in Namugongo in 2024. So you have a lawyer, you have a sportsman, university worker, and a driver, meaning nobody is safe, like the speaker rightly put it. So somebody out there may assume that this is none of his business. I'm a woman, I'm a businessman. This is not my problem. You are a candidate for this. Last year alone, we registered 950 cases in the entire country. 950. And that was a drop from 1,016 in 2024. With regions in the north, West Nile leading. And I will explain partly why they were leading. 950 cases. And those are the ones that reported or we recorded. We have witnessed where we stay, lynching, assault, undressing victims. You must have seen one or two where they undress victims and capture on camera. Destruction of property. Somebody in the neighborhood alleges that you're practicing witchcraft, and the next hour, your banana plantation, your animals, your house is put down. In a society where there are leaders, where there are church people, where there are parents and cultural leaders. Now, this mob action assaults, it's actually rapes, if I want to use your language, it rapes the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. Because you cannot be everything. You cannot be the witness and you be the court, you be the police, and you systematically take away the rights of the victims, the right to life, the right to fair hearing, and the presumption of innocence. In 1 or 5 minutes, you finish everything. 2, you obstruct investigation. Every time you kill a victim in a mob action, you kill evidence. Even if Sidin was guilty, which I said the other day, his case cannot go on. Even if you get somebody stealing, we are unable to recover exhibits of stolen property. We are unable to find the other group, the associates, the criminal gang. We cannot secure convictions when we have mob action. So on top of taking away the rights of the victim, you deny us the opportunity to conclude the investigations. The good thing I'm talking in front of the lawyers, this animal mob action is illegal. You may look for all the reasons why it happens, and you make it look like it's necessary. But I can tell you, it is illegal. It is illegal, and under the joint liability principle, those that jointly participate in committing the offense will definitely jointly pay. There is no amount of excuse or argument or reasoning you can put across for you to survive this. Every individual in that crowd, whether you punched, whether you threw stone, whether you cheered, is what they call giving moral support, participating by giving. Somebody can come with a stone, and in the middle of asking himself whether he should act or not, and hear Chikube, that is moral support. The sportsmen will tell you the supporters are an extra person on the pitch. So you who is on your camera, in your car, in your shop and cheering, you will jointly be charged for giving moral support. And you will be charged with a number of cases or counts: murder, attempted murder, malicious damage. So there are cases where we take to court close to 60 people. There are cases where we sweep the entire village, and people migrate, people leave their villages for some months. In the topic, there was a question of why this? What could be the causes? And I know most of you will raise the causes in the modern mob action times. But I want to take you to the history. Most of our cultures, most of our communities, I am told even now, communities believed in practicing corrective, punitive measures. That leaders in a certain area would give on-spot punishments to the wrongdoers. You're a girl and you do things you're not supposed to do. They gather people and punish you there and then to send a message to the rest of the girls in the village. That was mob action. Up to today, I'm told in the northern part of the country, some elders get wrongdoers and cane them 150 without following the due process. That is our history. And when the colonial government introduced the modern day courts or authorities, the local population did not fully understand or even trust the process. Up to today, when we are doing community policing, people fail to get what you mean by being innocent until proved guilty. That I find you in my plantation with a panga and somebody tells me this gentleman is innocent. That I find you in my house breaking and the law says, wait a minute, he's innocent until proved guilty. So the community did not understand the new arrangements at that time. And even now, whenever people come to police and they benefit from police bond, the story is different. We have cases where people have been stoned and killed immediately after getting police bond, because they believe you should stay at police or even die from there. No complainant, I have not seen any who brings the suspect at police and expects that person to leave in the next few hours? Including you who you're here. If I asked you, who can bring a suspect at police and is comfortable meeting the suspect in 2-3 hours outside? Now, after the independence, we had a huge period, a long stretch of instability in this country. The wars, the civil wars, the regime changes, and this introduced a new wave of hardening. To the people that experienced wars in northern Uganda and the east part of the country, in Kasese, the communities developed a new way of defending and protecting themselves. Some new groups, in the name of vigilantes, the Arrow Boys, came up and sometimes bypassed the known lawful systems to defend themselves. So up to now, some people feel they should defend themselves against the threat. Up to now, people practice weird ways of handling issues. Somebody will tell you, we shall sort this man to man. The other source or cause is what everybody currently knows, the perceived justice delays. I have learned to speak like a lawyer, perceived, because I don't want to be taken to court. Corruption, lack of transparency, slow response or no response at all, leading to no trust in the known justice systems. Why? A number of reasons. For those that are a bit alert and conscious, whenever we are giving the annual crime report, we indicate some of the challenges that we face as an institution. For example, the detective to case ratio. You have one police officer investigating 54 cases versus the standard, the international standard, which is 1 to 12. Definitely there will be case backlog. If I am one and I am here to make a presentation at the Law Society weekly brief and I have 54 files to handle, there will be delay in justice. And in the long run, this will lead to losing trust in our systems. This is not unique to Uganda Police. If you go to DPP, if you go to the entire judicial apparatus, it's the same case. You have a court in Masaka handling Bukomansimbi, Karungu, Lakai. You have a police that covers a huge area. You have manpower gap where one police officer is supposed to serve 500, that is the international standard, but you are now serving 800 plus. So those are challenges in the system. Now, amidst all those, we have interventions as an institution. Because if you read the annual crime report, you will see a reduction, first of all, in the general crime, but also in the cases reported on mob action. One is what I am doing here, participating in community dialogue, objective and constructive discussions. It's very bad to move and work in a defensive mode, except sometimes that there are challenges. Community policing, to engage the public on some of the issues they did not understand then, but up to now they can't understand that somebody is in my house with a panga but is innocent. 2, the sub-county policing model. I don't know whether you've heard of that. It's a strategy by the institution to bring the law enforcement officer closer to the communities. That at least in every sub-county, you are able to respond in time. And we have a coverage of 56% now. With our recruitment and training in Kabarye, we will cover 100% sub-counties in this country. And this will change so many things. The response time, people will report, the manpower gap will be sorted. 3, the force multipliers. The deployment of technology, CCTV cameras, the use of forensic science. For those that followed the case of Okero, the case was completely sorted with forensic science. Forensic evidence, and the gentleman was finished. The use of canine dogs. These tools will help us to quickly, because I told you delays in justice lead to having no trust in the system. So to support our officers with these multiplier forces, we should be able to move away from that. Prosecution-led investigations, where we don't just take files to court and they are all dismissed. You have the state attorney and the CID on the same page conferencing over cases, so that you bring quality work in court. The intelligence-led operations, to avoid taking what these people call Nalumanya and Salumanya, that you're very sure that you're picking the right group. To prosecute the perpetrators. And it is at this point that I want to inform you that whoever participated in that terrible incident of Sydney will definitely feel the pressure. You can imagine waking up and the entire world is looking for you. Your photo is everywhere. It's hell on earth. They are putting your photo, they are putting the stone you're carrying, they are mentioning your names and where you stay. Even your wife can actually carry you to police. And I want to inform those who are hiding to come out, because it's a matter of time. Once you commit a crime in this country, Uganda becomes small. Because you don't know who is looking for you, who is who. The people you call border borders may actually not be border borders. Your neighbor can turn out to be an operative. A taxi driver can be an IO. So you will be got. Without going deep in this investigation, I can tell you we have 10 people, suspects, as the law says. And the file will go to state attorney shortly, and they will appear. That's the only way we can quickly solve this, to strongly punish the perpetrators. Having an open door policy as an institution, because you may sit in Naguru or in our offices and we think we are doing the right things. But every time you open yourself to critics, objective criticism, you would improve with time. For those who have been following, every Monday we have a media brief. And we receive questions, we receive complaints. Accepting to come here is a way to tell you that we may not be perfect, but we are ready to improve as an institution. And we cannot critique ourselves. It is not possible. Even doctors visit other hospitals So as an institution, we are open to criticism, to guidance, to partnerships, because sometimes you need others. Like any other crime, mob action requires combined effort by all stakeholders. Because you have seen Council Chibirango, a sportsman Sydney, a driver, so everybody is involved in this. As an institution, we have disciplinary courts and professional standard units across. Because we are aware that we are working with human beings, people who fall short of what they are supposed to do. Because when you talk about corruption, you're not talking about trees or cars. The person in office is the one who is corrupt. And as an institution, we are aware that these are your brothers, your sisters, your relatives, they are human beings. So we encourage the public to complain. Lodge complaints in our PSU offices, such that individual culprits are worked on. In my conclusion, breaking the law to punish the suspected lawbreaker can only increase crime. And you cannot raise any sensible issue or argument that because somebody was suspect, you had to break the law. Fighting mob action, like any other crime, is a duty for all of us. I want to encourage you to shift slightly from being critics to participate in this, to do your part. And I normally tell people, you're not doing us a favor by working with us. There's a whole section of the law in the Constitution, Article 17F, is very clear, like you normally say. You're supposed to work with security agencies in doing their work. Because the framers knew that we could not do this alone. How many are we? Can we be everywhere? So if you have information, if you find a mob somewhere, pick your phone and call police and inform them. That's not a favor. That's a constitutional mandate. Lastly, community policing, civic education, improving transparency, addressing socioeconomic inequalities. Sometimes when people are poor, they don't make clear decisions.
Abalungi abatuuliriza era abatulaba olunaku olwaleero tuchaddeko ewa Sheikh Asiraf Dembe.
Sebo sanyusa okubalaba amannya agange yeze Sheikh Asiraf Dembe akola ku bizibu by'enjawulo. Omuntu singa aba alina ebirwadde musomereddwa tunywa amazzi ga lukuya nga bw'obadde ogalaba, tugenda abantu ku kyoto ne twokya emizimu emibi egibabaamu n'okulombeddwa. Abantu singa abeera ng'ali wano atuuse sobola okumulombereddwa, ne waba atatuuse nga mpadde amannya ge naye ng'ali wala. Neetaaze enamba yange yeno eri 0707363711. Namwe bannyinaffe abali ebweru oyagala okuba nti oyagala okulombera ku ddwa ng'olina ebizibu, viza zibuze, amaka gakolongotana, sente zikola zimpita mu ngalo, ojja kumpeereza ekifaananyi kyo n'amannya go, ebyo byokka bijja kummala, nja kukulombera edduwa, ojja kutereera. Olunaku olusembayo mu mwezi mba n'edduwa ey'awamu ffenna n'abalwadde bange abakadde n'abapya. Salaamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.